Alright, Calpurn Piso here. You know, we're celebrating today. Well, it is actually the Dies Sanguines. The christ-psychotics call it Easter. They have no idea of the origins. About 2056 years ago, a Lord and Savior, a Redeemer, a God, a son of Venus was actually sacrificed. He gave his blood to save his people. This God and Savior, his name was Divus Iulius. It was Julius Caesar. This God and Savior, the darling of Venus, was sacrificed by the Senate of Rome. The Senate in those days was personified as the evil of everything. Those were the ones that ended up killing the Lord and Savior, Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was sacrificed, and in that particular day, it was called Dies Sanguines, the day of blood. And it was actually in March, the day of Mars. He was the Lord, and the man never lost the battle. Everything was considered a miracle when he did this. And this is historical fact. He was declared God. After the Battle of Pharsalus, when he actually ended up defeating the other priest, high priest, which actually is Pompey Magnus, he was received in Rome with great triumphs, and people were carrying palms. It lasted 4 days. He was victorious. One of the men that actually wrote about Divus Iulius, or the divine Julius Caesar, was a man that actually fought, and he was actually consul of Rome. He was a praetor. He was giving official office, public office. But anyway, the man fought in many battles, and his name was Asinius Pollio. And if you looked in the encyclopedia, and there's a historical fact, he wrote about Caesar. He was at the Battle of Pharsalus. We also had a lot of battles. The man, after Julius Caesar was sacrificed, founded the first public library in Rome. You know what his name means? Means ass cult. In other words, Caesar, in his triumph, being received by all these palms and everything and fanfare, and everything was written by his friend, which means ass cult. Just like the mythological character of Jesus Christ actually riding a donkey, which is absolutely ridiculous and never happened. But see, everything mutates. A lot of people think, what is Christ means? Is it a last name? No, it simply means an anointed divine person. In Greek, that's what Christos means. But if you go with Christo, means a nice man. It means a moral, honorable man. And if you go with Christi, it means merchant. And the only merchants over there in Rome were basically the Jews, where they usually devote people a long time ago. But anyway, he was assassinated, gave his blood. He was put on a tropaeum, his wax image. His body was laying in the miniature temple of Venus in a beard, so he was cremated there. But he was put as all the gods in that time on a tropaeum, which is a symbol. It looks like it's a cross structure. And he was done his crown of acantha leaves. Acantha is a thorn bush representing the god Apollo. In Greek mythology, if you read it, you'll find out that Acantha was a nymph that refused the advances of the god Apollo. And he turned her into a thorn bush. So this bush is the one, the Acantha leaves are done everywhere in Rome, in all the temples. The Corinthian capitals with the little leaves that go like that, those are Acantha leaves. If you look at one of the sculptures of Augustus in the Vatican, he is wearing not a little laurel leaf, no, a bushy, funny-looking crown. That is Acantha leaves. It's a crown of thorns. Romans never, there's no evidence the Romans crucified people, put them on crosses. No, that's a victory symbol. They tied them to poles, tied them with ropes, and let them to die. Blood was sacred. And then, of course, 300 years later, everything mutated. The Emperor Constantine switch everything around. Myth, the words, the translations, everything is lost. And there you have a resurrected, a guy that was actually sacrificed, and it's called Easter. That's not true. None of that happened. And another thing too is that the Day of Blood, the main religion of the Roman people was the one of Divus Iulius. There were temples built to Julius Caesar in 29 BCE by the son of God, who became the Emperor Augustus, which he was also a Christus, an anointed builder of bridges, of Pontifex Maximus. And all the Roman emperors became so. But he built temples everywhere, including Jerusalem, that was called Alia Capitolina. Nazareth didn't exist, it was not built, there's no evidence. There, of course, then we have the Emperor Augustus, that was the son of God, Caesar, was viewed as the resurrected son because he continued. And he created the tremendous, the peace, the Pax Romana, which it lasted a couple hundred years. It was amazing. So that's where all the fables come from. To today, and the other gods also, like Attis and all the other pagan gods, were actually put into the Sanguines, into the Day of Blood. Like Attis, that was actually, he castrated himself, and his mother was the Cybele, the goddess of the earth. It's interesting that you see Gaius Julius Caesar, what his name means. Gaius means son of the earth, from Gaia, earth, and us. The prefix means son of. Many people don't realize that. Octavius, his first name was Gaius too. So this is interesting. The Christians have it all wrong. In their delusions, lack of knowledge, they believe they are not questioners, they are acceptors. They accept every fairy tale anybody tells them. Their ignorance and mental illness is pitiful.